This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there he is. How you doing, my brother? How you feeling? You feeling good?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to get this moving. The party on the road. I'm ready to head into my bye week.
Okay, I like it. I like it, and you're expecting a win, right? It's going to be 5 in a row this week, right? I mean,
Mike Glennon is going to be starting.
Yeah, you can't lose to either Mike Glennon or
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. You can't, bro. You can't. Not the way you're playing defense right now. The question is, how healthy will that secondary be for this game now?
They're going to get their safeties back. Brandon Jones is going to be coming back. Eric Rowe has been playing with a hip injury. I think they've got issues, but their top two cornerbacks are healthy, and that's pretty much all that matters. They are the straw that stirs the drink. So I think you're not gonna really have to worry about them, and that's who opens up the exotic blitzing. So I think they should be relatively healthy.
All right, good. That is very good because that allows the amoeba to do the amoeba, huh?
Yeah, in the secondary. Now, Robert Hunt is battling back issues. You got Jesse Davis dragging his leg, which he's done all season. Then you've got Philip Lindsay. I don't see him playing because he's barely practicing. There are other issues, but this is December. This is that time of year, and that's what happens when you get to December games.
Have you been surprised at the turnaround public-wise on Tua after all the criticism from all the people all around the country? We have a lot of people that are backtracking now, Omar.
They'll be back. They'll be back to where they once were. What's interesting about Tua is, and this is part of the appeal, part of the draw, but also part of the negative. And we talk about it all the time. We talk about Tuanon in the media contingent every single day. Those people are committed, dedicated, loyal, and they see no fault. And advocates, stern supporters, and everybody. I wish I had somebody who ride for me like Tua has Tuanon. And so the interest is always going to be high, and because the interest is high, it doesn't matter what you do. Quarterbacks move the needle. So talking quarterbacks, discussing quarterbacks. I generally do not write about quarterbacks, nor do I like to talk about quarterbacks because I don't feel like I have to lower myself to the common denominator, which is quarterback talk. But that's what every media member does to drive traffic and drive interest and create views. So they'll be back.
But you know what? But you just said a key word there, and that's views. And that's the interesting part because you might see an exotic looking woman. Okay, not Halle Berry beautiful that nobody can ever argue or deny she's beautiful. I'm talking some women that are kind of that borderline. They're exotic, that some guy might find her incredibly attractive, and another guy might say, "Yeah, she's kind of hot, but she's really not that good looking." Some of those kind of not my type. That kind of woman.
I used to have those conversations with Adam Beasley all the time because
right,
you know what we like. You know what we like.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
And he likes something completely opposite.
Right, exactly. By the way, who's a little bit like that? Well, I don't know if you saw Flash Gordon, but there was this woman in the movie Flash Gordon from years ago. She's Ming's daughter, and she's like a sexy girl, not necessarily pretty, but she is attractive in her own way. Oh, you know who's like that? Megan Thee Stallion. Because she's a good-looking woman to some of us.
Oh yeah,
to some other guys.
That's too much woman right there. That's too much woman right there. And
right.
Not for me.
Exactly.
Not for me.
Me neither. But the thickness might be something that scares the crap out of certain guys.
Let me tell you, Big O. listen, my life changed once I got a divorce and I got out on these streets and started running these streets. Man, thick and athletic. Oh Lord,
I'm with you. I'm not arguing. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
absolutely.
So somebody sent us. It was Gus 1388, a very loyal listener, and he sent you and me a video of Riddick
Oh,
and Colin Cowherd, who knows nothing about
Riddick has
football.
always been a believer. Riddick has always been a Tua member, Tua non-member.
But if you listen to that part of the segment, because you had to like endure some other crap in there, but if you listen to that part of the segment, you see how Cowherd starts off with, I don't know what you're going to do with Tua. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl. And then Riddick straightened his ass out right away because you have too many people that they fall in love with the guy that's 6'5". Oh, and he can throw 100 miles an hour. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's my guy. That's it. That's a quarterback. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's what it's supposed to look like. Yeah.
And that's not true. So I just love that Riddick got it on what a quarterback is
my thoughts on that subject and that thought process, and I heard the conversation. I know where everybody stands in it, and I remember going to the Senior Bowl and looking at Justin Herbert. I really, 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 really poured over Justin Herbert and wanted to like him, and his college film turned me off. But the one thing I could not deny is he can throw those passes that not everybody can throw. Same thing with Ryan Tannehill. He could throw those passes that not everybody can throw. And I started my morning, and I had this conversation with you previously, or Monday, I believe we discussed this. I keep thinking back to Tannehill's first year and those steady diet of the 15-yard outs that he threw to Brian Hartline. And I was like, man, that's all he really could throw. And that was a criticism that I had of Tannehill. And lo and behold, now that I think about it, that's not a pass that everybody can throw. It's a luxury pass. Now, should every quarterback have that in their arsenal? Absolutely. Does every quarterback have it? No. You
had to roll Jay out to the side he was throwing that throw. When he had to throw that out pattern.
Which one? Jay Fiedler?
Yeah, if he did it from the pocket, it would get intercepted. But if you had him roll, then he could make it because it was a closer throw. Plus, he had the momentum of the run, and then he'd be able to,
get it there. Path. Yeah. But my point is on that subject. The big arm quarterbacks. That's always going to be in vogue. That's always going to be the blonde, blue eyes. To NFL fans, they're always going to view that as the beauty and what's beautiful, and
that's why Jeff George got a shot and another shot and another shot because he had an absolute one of the most beautiful arms I have ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. Jeff George,
but to me, what makes Tua special is, and that's the same thing where we're talking about the Showtime clip of Brandon Marshall and Julian Edelman and Phil Simms. They're kind of taking a dump on Tua about what's special about them. Lo and behold, Phil Simms had nothing special about him. He won a Super Bowl. What's going to make Tua win a Super Bowl? And, what's the special physical trait? And, Tua doesn't have a special physical trait. Shame on him, but Tua does have elite accuracy.
That's a special trait,
not a physical trait, and that's the point that I made when
it is a physical trait because you still have to throw it perfectly, consistently. That is physical, touch is physical.
But
a gift. Just like the gift for a 20-yard out is a gift. Ball placement and accuracy.
Oh, yeah.
My Lord,
question,
that's a gift, bro. That's anticipatory throws they're like you're like a genius when you're able to do that. That you're throwing.
My thing is just wait, and then pocket presence. I'm sorry, but
that's different. That's not a physical, but that's I don't know what that is.
Maybe 10 NFL quarterbacks have pocket presence, and maybe 10 throw with accuracy. How many of them have the cannon arm? I'm sorry, but I will take accuracy and anticipation and pocket presence any day. Now, would I love it with an arm that's got a cannon?
Aaron
Absolutely.
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Cannon accuracy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott threw some passes yesterday. I was watching that game because I was watching the Saints, who Dolphins play next. Good God, they're horrible.
Yeah, but their defense can get after you at times. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge for them.
But he put some passes in there, tight windows. And you see Tua do that. And you're like, man, how did that pass get in there? That's just a special trait that guys have and a knack, and you can't underestimate it. That to me is not, something that can or should be overlooked in the NFL.
I'm with you there. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Omar Kelly. Make sure you subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel and support Omar and all the great writers there of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Going into this game, do you have a concern? And if you do, what is the concern?
The defensive line for the Eagles, they, led by Leonard Williams.
Giants.
They can hunt you. They can hunt quarterbacks. What's the defensive coordinator's name? Patrick Graham. His familiarity with who the Dolphins are defensively, I think that could definitely benefit you as a team. Maybe Freddie Kitchens is sat up there, and they both play the same style of defense. So, it's going to be effective carryover. I love those matchups because Tua is going to be able to dissect the defense quicker, and same thing with Mike Glennon, who, even though he's just going to throw checkdowns. So that's going to be what concerns me. Saquon Barkley being Saquon Barkley. That's about it.
Well, and he really hasn't been anything special.
I mean, but it can happen. It can happen. I mean, who would have said the Dolphins could upset the Baltimore Ravens? Nobody. But it can happen. A team can catch you at the right time in the right game. You can have the wrong injury. Robert Hunt can't play. You feeling good about that line?
No, I mean, I don't feel good about the line, period, as it is. I mean, and let me tell you something. Now that I know if Lindsey doesn't play, and I saw him save their asses on one of the blocks, those are things that are those are the little things that are really important to get that offense going. Is you got to keep Tua somewhat clean for 2 seconds at least. I can't ask you for 3. I know that's way too much to ask for 2.8 seconds. But if you could give at least the kid 2 seconds, one of the things I have loved about how Tua got understood right away after the rib injury, and he came back, he's like, I ain't holding on to this thing. I'm going to get rid of it. And 98% of the time, it's quick, and he is out of it. You know what I'm saying? I give him credit for that.
And it's out of his hands quickly. He's getting in people's faces. I mean, I don't like the narrative that people are saying right now about how the offensive line is improving. Oh, look at it's improving. It's improving. Look how few sacks they got.
It's like improve like a hair. Like it's so little what it's improved.
It's like driving. Improved. It's like the offensive line is driving 30 miles an hour on the highway, and they moved it up to 40. Like that's the improvement.
Yeah. They're still going to get a ticket.
You're still a threat to everybody on the road. Like
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Tua added another life insurance policy this past week when it's all said and done. So yeah, I think
I'm getting your jokes today. Do you notice this? I am getting your jokes.
There you go. So you're on a roll today.
I get it. I see it.
All right. So wide receiver wise, it looks like, because I've been so pissed on the opposite side of Waddle that he doesn't have another guy, and I think it would help Gesicki and him a little bit if there was another guy that was a little bit of a threat. And I'll give DVP this, man. At least when he does play, the mofo makes plays. All right. He'll help you be a better offense out there. There's no doubt he's gifted. The good Lord blessed him with abilities. They could use it on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna. They have one available roster spot, and they do have another avenue to create another roster spot by putting Trill Williams on IR. And they'll do that. They'll probably do one of the two Saturday. Who knows which one it'll be? But they've got to create two roster spots. One, they need a better center. Michael Dieter might come back. Greg Mance might come back. Both of them are practicing, and then obviously Devontae Parker. Getting Devontae Parker back would be huge. But here's my question and my concern and my problem. And yes, I know they've got a ton of injuries. They got a ton of injuries at the wide receiver position. But why the hell isn't Preston Williams stepping up?
Well, I mean, if do we have you back? Hold on a second.
I'm
there we go. There we go. Preston Williams. We just have to get to the point already and just say it's over. It's done.
It's not.
This experiment continues.
He had an elevated role
for
last
no
week.
reason.
He had an elevated role last week. It's not done. What they need to do is they need to simplify what they're asking him to do.
What, catch a football?
No, maybe
he can't catch a football. He's got more chances of catching COVID than a football, dude.
Stop.
The guy drops passes left and right, and he gets injured. When he's not dropping a pass, he's pulling some kind of a muscle or something like that. I'm telling you, the kid can't catch passes. He can't stay healthy, and he doesn't know jack shit about crypto because he brags about Doge. I mean, this kid's lost completely.
Listen, you know what? We're talking to him today, and I'm going to ask him, what do you want me to ask him about Dogecoin?
Why do you like Doge? It has no technology. Just like that. And I want him to go.
Text it to me because I don't know what I don't have a counter there. So text and give me a follow up too, so I can get this answer for you because
okay. All right.
I'm a novice on this crypto stuff.
I know, but you're gonna sound like it too by
yeah,
literally. But you know what? It won't be a bad thing, actually. Now that I think about it, he's a novice too. He knows nothing about crypto. I can already tell. I follow him on Twitter, on social media, so I know he knows nothing about crypto. He's just like a Doge hound, and he's one of those. We have millions of them walking around the world that know nothing about crypto, but somebody told them about Doge. Hey, you might make a couple bucks, and they put a couple bucks in there. Not that they know anything about crypto. You know what I mean? It's it is what it is. But I am going to send you. I'm going to send you a question, and then I'm going to have a follow up for that question for you, and I'm going to watch him completely sink down to the bottom of the ocean when you ask him like that. Okay,
please do because I might not. If he asks me a follow up question, I'll be like, "This is for Big O." Like I don't know anything about Doge.
I'd run him right out of the building when it comes to crypto, right out of the building. He wouldn't even know what hit him if
he's so talented and he's not healthy right now.
He's super talented. The good Lord bless that man with a ton of talent.
He's exactly the receiver that they need right now. Why it's not clicking, I don't know. And
Omar, anybody needs his talents. Anybody could use the gifts that Preston Williams has. But there's something about him that it's not clicking, and I don't know what it is. And this is a team that can't keep waiting for a head coach to develop. You can't wait for offensive coordinators to develop. You can't wait for these players that you've given already several years to develop. It just gets to a point that if you're not developing and you're not improving, you've got to pull the scab at one point or another. And that's the sad part.
He was developing and improving his first 2 years, and then something happened this year.
No. He's been dropping passes from day one, and he's been getting injured from day one. The same things have happened. He's made plays along the way, but maybe he needs a Chris Carter moment. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs to get cut, and then that's his opportunity to get the wake-up call, and he finds it somewhere else or something, because I don't know how many more times you're going to put him in a position of need, and he's going to fail you over and over again. That's the problem, dude.
That's fair. And I'm not trying to be ultra critical of him, because it's the same thing with Albert Wilson. Like,
he's a
know,
veteran.
Yeah, we know you're talented, Albert. Like, how come you can't come out here and give 2 or 4 decent plays?
How come you can't just cross the first down marker, kid? Why do you got to run 3 yards?
He doesn't see the markers. He doesn't see the marker.
But you got to know it, right? When you line up and you're about to run that route, you need to know where that marker is.
I defended him to the media contingent with this theory and thought. When you are a run after catch guy like Albert Wilson, you spend your entire life cutting it back. It is habit. It's not like, oh, let me skill and do this, and this is what I'm gonna do, and it's just an instinct. And sometimes they make those plays and it pays off, and sometimes they make those plays and they look like idiots. And that was just one of those instances where
it's third down. You got to know where that marker is, and you've got to make sure you keep that drive alive. And he killed that drive with that play. He did not use intelligence at that moment. He turned it over to athleticism, and it didn't end up paying off. And by the way, it's not like he's been doing that here for years and he's been this dynamic guy and all. No, dude, just get the first down, bro. Keep it simple. Keep the drive alive. We all would have been happy. You tried something fancy, and there it goes. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? All right. What are you working on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my man?
Jerome Baker. I'm doing a column on Jerome, and who I didn't think started the year very good. And he'll admit he didn't start the year very good. And they're using him in some different and creative ways. And he's gotten to the point where he's an integral part of this defense, and the reason why it's being so successful. The amoeba works because Jerome can do all the jobs, except for really fill the run. But you're not trying to stop the run when you're putting the amoeba on the field.
No, I got it. It's the coach. He ran the wrong defense and screwed a bunch of people over, and now he figured it out a half year later, and now Jalen Phillips and
I disagree with that
Baker look like different players.
So many different parts that there are so many different parts and reasons. I hate when people say that about this defense. One, you just don't carry over what you're doing last year with different pieces and different players.
Well,
Two,
it helps if you play the same defense.
They were playing the same. They were playing the same defense. It just didn't look the same because they didn't have the same parts. Then you lose Raekwon Davis for a month. Then you're struggling on first and second downs. It makes third downs very difficult. Then your 2 cornerbacks are battling growing injuries at the exact same time. Changes your style of approach. Then your safeties aren't playing at the level that they're playing now. So you can't sit here and say, oh, well, all of a sudden they just started playing the same defense they were playing last year. No, they're not even playing the same defense they were playing last year. They're playing a different defense. Different guys are coming. Different guys are attacking. Different guys are hitting the A gap. So I hate when people say that. It's a very simplistic approach.
It's the same defense. Just because it's different people doesn't mean it's a different defense.
No, they're running a different
They're
defense.
attacking now like they were last year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just attacking. It's how and who they're attacking with. Like, I'm sorry, Bobby McCain was not blitzing before. Was Bobby McCain blitzing? No. Bobby McCain was sitting his behind back there 20 yards downfield, serving as a safety valve. That's what you do with
Bobby McCain. You blitz Brandon Jones is what you blitz.
Correct. But now they're blitzing Holland and Jones. That's
different. They didn't have Holland last year. That's
okay, but it doesn't matter. They had Rashad Jones, and they didn't do it with Rashad. So, it's just about it's different pieces, different approach, a growth process they had to undergo. But I like what we're seeing from the defense now. But
I love what we're seeing from the defense. Come on, man. How can you not love what you're seeing from that defense? It's fun to watch.
We got to see him stop the run.
There he is, the man, the myth, legend is Joe Schad, fresh out of a Dolphins camp. How are you doing, my man?
What's up, Orlando? I'm doing well. I'm outside the Dolphins facility as practice is going on here. Hopefully you can hear me clear enough.
All right. Please tell me clear enough that you see Devontae Parker out there, that you see Michael Dieter out there. What? Tell me.
Yeah, Devontae Parker. We only had a few minutes because today's essentially a walkthrough, so we were only basically able to take attendance. Devontae Parker was out here. Michael Dieter was out here. The only player who we did not spot was running back Philip Lindsay. We don't know why Lindsay wasn't out here, but he wasn't out here.
Okay. All right. I mean, the guy just moved. He might be still searching for a condo or something. You know what I mean? So, huh? He's waiting on Comcast. That's right. I mean, you sometimes, you know how it is, Joe. You got to call Comcast. He's got to be at home waiting to open the door for the guy at Comcast. So, there's a lot of things that are going on in Philip Lindsay's life. Now, speaking of that, if he's fine, obviously, let's assume that he's healthy enough to play and all that. Does it look like you're developing? I know it's only one game, but he ran so hard. It almost seems like him and Gaskins might become like a little bit of a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I mean, there are still things that Lindsay needs to figure out. He only expected to play a few snaps in that last game, and he ended up carrying the ball 12 times. So, it's not easy to know exactly where to go on every play. But there's no reason in the world that he shouldn't be given an opportunity to compete as we move forward here with Myles Gaskin. I mean, Gaskin is a solid NFL capable player, but he's certainly not, performed to an all-pro level or Pro Bowl level at this time. So the Dolphins hope they can catch some lightning in a bottle with Philip Lindsay, and you can run the ball pretty decent against the Jets. So let's see if the Dolphins continue a little bit of improvement in the running game. They have topped 100 yards rushing in each of the last two games, and this is the first time they've done that this season.
And listen, Joe, as you know, you've been around football a long time, like I have. When you can save a quarterback's ass and pick up a block the way he did, and it leads to a big play, the kind of confidence your staff will get in you it'll grow in a big time way. So I wouldn't be surprised if this staff gains confidence quickly on him because of those kind of scenarios. Not so much running the ball, but the blocking, because it's always so important.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I wish I had put in my headphones. I'm having a hard time hearing the audio from you as I stand outside here. But
okay.
Sorry.
All right. So first of all, it's nice to see Tua getting the praise now. The offensive line improvement has been very little. It's not something that's drastic or anything like that. So how much do you credit Tua in his adjustments? Like I say, he has adjusted to chaos pretty well, because if you play quarterback for the Dolphins behind this line, it's a chaotic situation. So your thoughts on Tua's play, because it seems like people are noticing around the country now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tua Tagovailoa has improved his performance here in recent weeks, and that's a positive sign for Tua and the Dolphins. I mean, anytime a guy completes 80% of passes in consecutive games, that tells you how well he's playing. And of course, the Dolphins haven't figured out all of their offensive line woes. But there has been some improvement. Like I mentioned, the 2 100-yard rushing games, only 2 sacks in the last 2 games. And it is true that Tagovailoa has avoided a few other potential sacks, which is nice to see. That's something that he saw veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick do early in his career, when Fitzpatrick was able to avoid many sacks. So, yeah, obviously the perception of Tagovailoa continues to evolve. He's only played 16 games in his NFL career. And I did a really extensive research project. I don't know if you read the story, Big O, but I looked up over the last 10 years how every single quarterback performed in his first 16 starts. And Tagovailoa was second in completion percentage and 14th in passer rating. Those are very encouraging numbers. He needs to increase the touchdown passes and passing yards and yards per attempt. But when you look at Tagovailoa's numbers in comparison to other young quarterbacks and how they have fared in the last decade, there are reasons to be encouraged.
Do you think now there was a little too much overreaction out there? Too many size queens? Too many people worried about being 6'5" and 265 and throwing it 100 miles an hour and not really looking at what a real quarterback is supposed to do? You think maybe there was way too much overreaction around the country? Because I found it to be a little ridiculous that people were quitting on this kid so early in his career. And by the way,
Well, the
in
concern
a terrible
with
situation.
Tua is not about whether he's 6'5". Of course, it's more about durability. Tua unfortunately had this significant injury with the hip in college and has missed 5 starts this year due to a rib injury and a hand injury. So we're of course all hoping that Tua can stay healthy, but durability will be a question.
That's fine. Durability was always a question with him. That's a legitimate question. What I thought was illegitimate was when people were saying he can't play at this level. He can't throw at this level. He can't throw a deep ball. These are the things that I had a problem with. We had way too many people overreacting, saying that he was a bust of a pick because of his play, not because of his durability issues. That's the part that I thought that I think I see people now coming around. And to me, Joe, that's more of what it was about, is that people were not believing in his abilities, not necessarily his availability.
Well, the Dolphins need to continue to build on Tagovailoa's strengths, which are obviously accuracy, the ability to deliver the ball quickly and into tight spaces. We can hope that with improved offensive line play and improved wide receiver play, and of course, as Tua gets healthier, he gets healthier every week, that he will be able to complete more passes that carry 20 yards or more in the air. There have been some positive signs in the last 3 or 4 games where Tua has had an increase in the number of big plays.
Yeah, no, you're right. But see, look, Miami Kid J puts in, I still think the deep ball is still in question. You see, the stupidity continues. Sorry, Miami Kid J, that I said it, but that's just the way it is. The kid just threw a 50-yard pass sideways. He wasn't even standing the right way to throw it. He was wide when he had to throw it coming out of that pressure. And with a fractured finger. And you're still going to question it? That's what I'm saying, Joe. We still have people. And that leads me to my next question. We had the same crap go on with Jalen Phillips because he wasn't picking up enough sacks. But here's the question I really have for you, Joe. Do we blame Jalen Phillips so much? Do we blame so much that he's a rookie and he's new and all that? Or do we blame the coaches who had him doing too much and finally said, you know what, kid? We're just going to put you at what you do. Go after the passer, and we're going to move you around. And they changed up the way they're using Jalen Phillips. How do we credit it?
Well, it's twofold. Obviously, Jalen Phillips has gotten more comfortable with the things that are being asked of him as an NFL player. And then also the Dolphins coaches, Brian Flores and Josh Boyer included, would tell you that they've made some changes in the last 4 weeks that they think have, increased the success rate of the entire defense. So, look, I mean, Jalen Phillips looks the part. He always has. He's going to be a good player. He's going to create pressures. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's off to a very impressive start overall. And it's nice to see that the Dolphins' top 3 draft choices from this year are performing at a very high level. And that's something I'm going to write about in Sunday's Palm Beach Post. If these 3 guys continue to perform at the level that they are, Waddle, Phillips, and Holland, that'll help alter somewhat the perception of Chris Greer's recent draft history.
Ooh.
There have been some good draft choices and some not so good draft choices. And, obviously that's the case with most NFL teams. The jury's still out on guys like Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany, of course. But it does appear clear that Greer really hit on the first 3 picks of this year's draft.
Well, the year before, it looks like he's hitting on Tua, isn't he? Looks like he's hitting on Brandon Jones, isn't he? I mean, you start to look around, and there's some other picks that are also working out for the Miami Dolphins, too. It's not so much those guys, some of the other guys that he also drafted. See, this is good. This is our overreaction interview because the people that overreacted about Tua, they're looking silly. The people that overreacted about Jalen Phillips, they're looking silly. The people that overreacted about the front office, they're looking silly because all of the defensive players and some of the offensive players are developing. Even Smythe has become a plus for them.
Smythe has been an improved player,
Yeah.
as has Christian Wilkins.
That's right. That's
But
right.
but just to
Hold
be
on.
honest,
Hold on. Let me
are you
finish.
suggesting that you, Orlando Alzugaray, are not an overreaction guy, that you are actually very calm and level-headed and measured and patient and all those sorts of things?
No, I just say that I was right about Tua and I was right about Chris Greer. That's all I'm saying. If you want me to tell you exactly what I'm saying is everybody overreacted. And with Chris Greer and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie, because it's all those guys, I think they're an excellent group. They hit on most of their guys, actually. It's only the offensive line, really, and that's because you don't have any coaches to coach those guys up. And Noah and Hunter, because they got people in front of them, that's why they're not playing. Noah will never play until you get rid of one of the two starters, and Hunter's got 4 tight ends in front of his ass. So really, everything else is kind of working out for this front office. If you actually get an O-line coach, I bet you, I mean, really, Joe, think about this. As bad as the O-line is, as much as you've seen them, tell me there aren't one or two of those guys that you would think are better with real coaching. Tell me that Robert Hunt and Eichenberg would not be better players with coaching. Dieter showed you a little something. If he can finish it off here, that's 3 of the 5 right there. If you hit on those, you did great by hitting on 3 of the 5. My point is there was overreaction on Tua, overreaction on Jalen Phillips, and man, was there overreaction on the damn front office when it was really.
Well, the offensive line is a concern as it relates to the front office's resume. They did set out, their stated goal was to build the trenches, especially to fortify the offensive line. And unfortunately, it's true that at this point they have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Do I think that coaching plays a role in that? Sure. Do I think that at this time you would have to suggest that Austin Jackson wasn't a very good draft pick? Unfortunately, he's a nice kid. Yeah, you would have to suggest that Austin Jackson does not appear to have been a very good draft pick.
Yeah, that's right. But if Dieter ends up being good and Hunt ends up being good and Eichenberg and you miss on Kinley and Jackson, you did great. You did phenomenal if you hit on 3 of the 5.
Well, the problem is you still need
nobody's going to hit on all 5. Nobody's going to hit all.
The problem is you drafted Eichenberg, Hunt, and Jackson, and if only one of them is a capable NFL tackle, that is unfortunately for Chris and the scouting department, that would be a blemish.
No, it wouldn't. If you hit on 3 of the 5, Joe, there's no blemish. It doesn't matter what they become, my brother. If you hit 3 of the 5, you're a monster in the draft. It wasn't good. It was great. If you hit on 60, seriously, you're going to laugh that if you hit on 3 of 5 players, that's not good.
I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Your opinion is that the Dolphins' 5 high offensive line choices, that there's a chance that this could be graded out as great.
If you hit on 3, I'm saying you're specifically pointing out that if you don't hit on this guy, that he's a tackle, it's a blemish. I don't give a crap about that. You draft 5 linemen. If 3 of them work out, it becomes a great draft. You don't agree with that?
The one thing I can tell you is that suddenly I can hear you clearly. The volume went up, and this makes me very happy. So,
all right, cool. No, but seriously, so if you hit on 60% of the 5 picks, that's not great.
Here's how this can be saved. If Robert Hunt becomes a Pro Bowl level right guard and Liam Eichenberg becomes a league average left tackle or right tackle, and Austin Jackson becomes a league average left guard, then I will say that Chris Greer and his staff's offensive line choices were fine. They worked out fine. Not great, fine.
Okay. All right. I mean, if Hunt's a second rounder, he ends up in the Pro Bowl. That's pretty freaking good. And if Dieter, I mean, listen, if you get 3 starters out of the 5, I'll be more than happy. You didn't draft any of these guys top 5 overall, like they were supposed to be all world and second coming anyways. You know what I mean? So I'm good with that. So do you have them winning this week, Doggy?
I do. I have the Dolphins winning, I believe by 6 points. So Dolphins to cover. They have won and covered 4 straight. Not convinced that the Giants can do anything to pose a legitimate threat to the Dolphins. They have some skilled players on offense, but they're all banged up. And, I don't think that the Giants have a very strong pass rush. And I think that the Dolphins' offensive line is going to hold up again. I think they're going to hold up this week. They're going to hold up for another week. And the Dolphins win and cover.
Does Devontae Parker play in your eyes?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the injured reserve designation was really a safe play. You know how it is with Devontae. I mean, he's the Jaguar and who's often in the service shop. And so
the screwed up part is, dude, he helps every time he plays. Whenever he can play, he'll be a factor in a game. He'll help you out, dude. It's just so strange. If he could have had a healthy career, I think we would have seen a Ring of Honor type of guy. I really believe that he was a special player, man. If it wasn't for all those, you know what he is, Joe? He's like you and me, normal. Because if we played in the NFL, we would be broken down every week. It's so freakish to be able to stay healthy in a league like that. It really is. Those are the freaks, the people that stay healthy.
The absence of Parker and Fuller, and I suspect we won't see Fuller play this year. I think this is just a deal where he's not going to play. That's just my gut feeling, not based on any specific reporting. Has enabled Waddle to really emerge, and so now let's hope that the combination of Waddle and Parker and Gesicki and Tua feeling better does lead to some big passing plays. I think Tua is aware of the criticism that he doesn't have enough completed passes of, in the air of beyond 20 yards. And I think he wants to finish strong in that category. Devontae Parker can help him.
I know, but that's not his fault. It's the damn line and everything they have involved. It just look at the damn game and it's such a bunch of crap if you're so worried about that. Once they give him a line in a real running game, wow, you're going to see a lot of more deep passes. And people go, wow, he can throw deep. Of course he can throw deep because he can now. Before, he's not allowed. It has to be a broken play or him scrambling or something for it to be a deep ball. It's just, I just wish the offense was a lot better. And
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.